everyone. Welcome to Grounded with John Tester and Maritza Giorgio. How you doing, Senator?
Well, it's been raining since Saturday, and if you knew how dry it was here, they always say, "It'll rain when we need it." We needed it. So, and it's still raining. So that's really, 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 really good news.
Did it come in time? Do you
I
think?
don't know. I don't know. I think the winter wheat got hurt pretty bad. We'll see if the spring wheat bounces back, but we'll need to have some more rain for the spring wheat, later this month and the first part of next month. But look, the way it was looking, we weren't gonna pull a combine out of the shed or a swather or anything else. It was looking like a total disaster, but now there's hope.
Yay, we like hope. We always love hope. I want to say quickly Happy Pride Month to everyone. It's June 1st.
Yeah,
And also a big happy birthday to the GOAT, my favorite, Brandy Carlisle. It's her birthday today.
it's her birthday today. You didn't go to any, concerts or anything over the weekend?
Yeah, I did. I went to Brandy at the Gorge. I trekked all the way to Washington State in the middle of nowhere, and, hung out with some of my very, very good longtime friends, some of whom you know,
Yeah,
Senator.
yeah,
Two of those women worked on some of your past campaigns, actually.
yeah.
And, oh my gosh, you guys, it was just amazing. Like, that festival, that weekend that she has every weekend over her birthday weekend, it's just the most loving place. I feel really good. I feel really good.
So, how long of a drive was it? One way?
Like 5 hours.
Oh, hell, that's not much different than driving from my place to Missoula.
That's right. That's like just a quick little hop for you.
That's easy. And it was good. Anybody else perform besides Brandy Carlisle?
Oh my gosh, yes, so many. The Indigo Girls. We had, the High Women came out. I only went the first night. The second night, Bonnie Raitt was there. Sheryl Crow was there this weekend. We saw I'm
So
gonna miss people, Sarah Bareilles, and then, I mean, the most like, Sister Strings is this duo, these sisters who play the cello and the violin, and it's, like, unlike anything I've ever seen. I'm gonna find some clips and spam you with them.
so just because 'cause I'm an inquiring mind, I wanna know what did it cost to go to the concert?
Listen, it it did so much good for my soul.
So it's more than,
Well,
talk about. I got it, it's okay.
you could get tickets for pretty inexpensive. Here's the problem. I filled up my gas tank just right outside of the venue,
And you
and
had
it
no
was
way to buy tickets.
$6.15 a gallon for regular unleaded.
You should have filled up in Spokane,
Well, we did fill up on the way there, but we needed gas once we got to the gorge to get back home, so
and then you
anyway.
should have filled up in Cheney because there's gotta be cheaper gas along the way than $6, okay?
Definitely it was higher than other
I think
places,
you
but still, it was an expensive road trip. Like, road trips are not cheap right now.
I think they saw you coming, but I didn't care about how much it cost to get there and get home. I was wondering what the tickets cost for the concert.
Well, it really wasn't too bad. I saw people buying tickets for 17 bucks yesterday up in the lawn.
Perfect.
Perfect.
Alright.
Yes. Okay. Carla says she got almost 2 inches of rain in Helena this weekend. Her plants are very happy. That's
That's
awesome.
good.
Yep.
Always need moisture and sunshine, that's what it takes.
We really do. Okay, so let's do some headlines. We have Randi Weingarten joining us today. We're going to talk about a lot of things related to education, AI, all of that. But let's do some headlines before she joins. Sound good?
Sounds good. Second
Okay.
time around for Randy Weingarten.
I think it's the third.
Really?
She joined us on another episode briefly when we had, I believe, Liz Oyer on.
Well, you got a better memory than I do. Anyway, let's talk about headlines.
Okay, so we
Come
are
on.
hearing right now reports that Iran is gonna stop negotiating with the US altogether. This is as the US and Iran traded more attacks over the weekend. Iran is now demanding a truce to include an end, of Israeli attacks in Lebanon. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is doubling down. He's widening his military attacks there against Hezbollah. And all of this means we still have a closed Strait of Hormuz. rising oil prices, mixed signals. Meanwhile, uh, President Donald Trump is on True Social saying that it's just really hard to negotiate when the Democrats and seemingly unpatriotic Republicans are criticizing him. And he says at the very end of this, just sit back and relax. It will all work out well in the end. It always does. Just relax. We're at war. Gas prices are through the roof. Just sit back and relax, folks. It's gonna
Yeah,
work out.
if you deny reality long enough, I think there's probably a mental illness, uh, that's associated with denying reality. But the bottom line is this, it just shows you how ill prepared they were and how they didn't think this through at all. I mean, the president. Bottom line is Netanyahu's wanted to fight with Iran for 50 years, and now he's got it, and he ain't gonna stop. He's not gonna stop. Short of the United States pulling all military support for Israel and putting Israel at major risk, he ain't stopping. And then, what he's gotta live with is he ripped up an agreement with Iran that had inspectors on the ground, making sure that Iran lived up to their part of the deal. And what he's advocating now isn't near as good as that. He can say it's far better than the JCPOA, but it isn't because they don't have anybody verifying that Iran is going to be doing what they say they're going to be doing. It is just really, really sad. And who pays the price? The American people and higher energy costs
Well, and
and
everyone else all over the world too.
us and everybody and everybody else around the world too. You're right. So sit back and relax. It'll all work out in the end. Yeah, like the tariffs will all work out in the end. Yeah, biggest tax increase on the American people ever. Uh, and yet, I watched the morning news shows on Sunday, and I watched Haggerty, God bless him, talk about how this is just working out just fine because Iran's uh, nuclear machine is under the earth, several hundred feet. It was under the earth before this war started. The president said he had decimated their nuclear capabilities. So it's just crazy. And then regime change. He's got an Ayatollah now that's younger and more extreme than the other one.
And the Strait of Hormuz is closed, and it was open before.
The Strait of Hormuz is closed. It was open before.
Well, yeah.
You can sit back and relax because everybody says this guy's a great deal maker. He's also a person that's went bankrupt 6 times. That doesn't indicate to me that he knows how to manage much. So, it is what it is.
Well, he is trying to make a deal for, some of the January 6th rioters, as we've talked about, that $1.8 billion weaponization fund.
No, 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 you're rounding up. It's 1.776 because it's you gotta be cute, okay?
Gotta be cute. Play on
Billion,
words. Play on
billion.
words.
That's right.
Okay, so on Meet the Press this weekend, did you watch that?
I watched parts of it. I did not watch the Mike Pence part.
I was at the Gorge, so I did not see Meet the Press this weekend, but former VP Mike Pence was critical of the Trump administration. He said that it's departed from conservative principles. He also went after the $1.776 billion weaponization fund. He said it's deeply offensive if J6 rioters get any payouts. And on that fund, a judge temporarily blocked it on Friday. Today, Senators Adam Schiff, Mark Kelly, and Alyssa Slotkin introduced a bill to prevent any taxpayer dollars from going to Trump and his allies, banning any payments or settlements from lawsuits brought by the president or vice president. And also, a judge in Florida said she wants to review this whole deal between the DOJ and Trump to settle his $10 billion lawsuit against his own IRS. If you'll remember, that's what led to this agreement, this settlement that creates that slush fund to begin with. It's just a mess. And go ahead.
Well, I know you're a student of history, Maritza, but can you tell me I just can't remember of a president that sued his own government that he was in charge of and having that president settle for not millions, but billions of dollars. Has that ever happened before? Has the president ever sued the IRS or a sitting president or the Department of Justice or you name it. Has that ever happened?
I I don't recall anything like that. I guess, well, if you can get Heather Cox Richardson on the phone or Doris Kearns Goodwin, let's ask them.
Yeah, we should because the fact of the matter is you've got the president of the United States, the president, if you want to call the government a business, the president of this business that is literally suing a department in the business so he can become richer. And by the way, all that is paid for by you and me and the rest of the American taxpayers.
And let's not forget Herman's making a really great point. Let's not forget as part of that settlement, the settlement in this $10 billion lawsuit is that, he will never be investigated by the IRS.
Yeah, so he didn't have to pay any taxes, which is probably what he was doing before he got to be president. That's why
Or
he
has
pays his taxes.
Yeah. So, there's a lot going on. I'm glad this judge in Florida is saying, "Hold on a damn minute."
Well, I just don't get how this is legal because he appoints the people that are head of the IRS. He appoints the people that are head of the DOJ, and then he sues the IRS. And if the IRS doesn't settle right, he's going to fire the IRS director for Christ's sakes. I mean, this all just doesn't pass any kind of smell test whatsoever. None.
Well,
0.
has much of his movement
Well, if you like high gas prices and you like to pay more in the grocery store and you like not to be able to get health care because there's not any access to it, if you like, we're going to get to this later, like the fact there's going to be fewer nurses and fewer physician
Mm,
assistants, fewer nurse practitioners. Well, that's cool. Then you got to be loving the hell out of what this president's doing.
well, you're gonna like
And
this
when
one. I
and when you listen to this morning shows and you listen to the folks that come in from that cabinet, and they ain't all stupid, and they say shit that just doesn't make any sense, you gotta wonder how they sleep at night.
Was there one that stood out to you this Sunday?
Yeah, I can't remember his name though. It wasn't Besant this time. It was one of the other people that are in charge of it. Yeah.
Okay, I know that you don't follow, Trump's True Social very closely, but,
No.
he had quite an epic crash out this weekend on True Social. So here's the deal, on Friday, a judge this was something that a lot of people were really excited about at the Gorge this weekend. A judge blocked Trump's planned renovation of the Kennedy Center, ordering Trump's name to be removed from the center within 2 weeks, saying only Congress can change the name. And this led to a huge, big social media rant from the president. He said that he will relinquish control of the Kennedy Center to Congress. And I mean, let me just show you some of the things he put up. Here you go. This is an AI rendering of his face sketched into Mount Rushmore next to Abraham Lincoln. We've seen something like this before. But he also introduced, Senator, a new reason to need a ballroom. And he is calling it his rooftop drone port. Uh, of course, we see that the ballroom is just stuck in this weird legal limbo. Lots of legal wrangling over this. But he's saying now, well, this is why we need the ballroom because we're going to put a drone port on the roof of the White House ballroom. And there's an AI rendering of what that looks like.
Well, Lex, what am I supposed to say? I mean, I don't know, but uh, Papa Trump, this guy's dad must have really screwed him up. If you're if you're the president of the United States or you're a sitting U.S. senator, you're a House member or governor, and you're really turned on by buildings being named after you or buildings being named after your family or you got in public service for all the wrong reasons. I'm just telling you. That's not why people serve or should serve in those. And I'm sure there are people in the Senate that are looking for buildings that are named after them while they're still alive. But Christ, if that's your motivation, man, you ought to get out. You just ought to get out because it's stupid motivation. We're all going to be dead, as Joni Ernst once said, in 100 years. From now, they ain't going to know Marisa Giorgio or John Tester from the man on the moon. And so get over it. I mean, just get over it. It's
You
just
can't even get a silo named after you.
I don't even want a silo named after me, that's the problem. You know,
Oh,
that's
god.
ooh, you talking a missile silo or a grain silo? What
Well, I mean,
well,
good point.
huh?
Good point. Good point.
Yeah,
You have a lot of missile silos out by you too.
but the
Uh,
truth is that who gives a shit? I mean, really? I mean, who cares? Who really cares? This is
he
crazy. This
let's not
should
forget
it
he wants to make currency, $250 bills with his face
it
on them.
just goes on and on, you know, when you drive last time I was in DC, I drove by I don't know, something a piece, and it was a Donald Trump something a piece. This guy I
Too.
mean, really? And then right beside it's the Kennedy Center, which was the Trump and John F. Kennedy Center. I mean, it's just so ridiculous as people can't afford to go on vacation because the price of gas is so high. This is a priority, building a goddamn drone port. It's it's insane for his golden ballroom and everything else. It's nuts. And put him on the monument in South Dakota. Ridiculous. And I'm sure it'll be paid for by donations too, right? Just like the ballroom, they'll be paid for by the US taxpayer. And
Well,
think of the presidents that are out there that actually did work for the country, not for themselves. They're not on Mount Rushmore.
I
It,
don't think his face is gonna go up on Mount Rushmore, I think
oh, I wouldn't doubt it. I mean, look, 30% of the people in this country think he's the best thing since sliced bread.
he just had a little crash out. He just had a little crash out. Anne says he wasn't hugged enough. That's for sure.
His
That's
kid, I don't think he's been hugged ever. I don't think Melania's ever hugged him.
She slaps his hand away, though. She
That's
slaps his hand away. Okay, before Randy gets here, I hope Randy I haven't seen her yet in our green room, but, she'll be here in a second, I think. I also wanna talk to you about tomorrow. Tomorrow is primary day. We have 6 states holding primary elections tomorrow, including Montana. Anything you're watching there?
well, there's a House District 1 that's, gonna be interesting, 4 people running, that'll be good. The California governor's race, I think Steyer and Becerra are 1 and 2 or 2 and 1, however they are, that's gonna
Yep.
be interesting. We had Karen Bass on, she's got a tough race in LA for the LA mayor's race, that'll be interesting. Look, Iowa's got a Senate race between, Turek and Wall, I believe, which is gonna be an interesting race because that's a race in Iowa that Democrats can win with the right candidate. Um, so there's a bunch of them. Like California, Iowa, Montana, New Jersey, New Mexico, South Dakota, I think that's on the docket for tomorrow, so that's a big one. And, a lot of the races are on the Republican side, quite frankly, there's a South Dakota governor's race, it's pretty hotly contested. Um, New Mexico, I think, gets a new governor, and so what happens there is gonna matter on the Democratic side, so it's gonna be a fun day. And
Yeah.
in Montana, for all the House races, and there's probably, I don't know, 6, 8, 10, 12, maybe tomorrow that are hotly contested. Montana 1 is one of them.
Yeah, I know. I people keep asking me who's gonna win. I don't know. I don't know. I'm very curious to see the results. So make sure if you're in one of those states, you get out to vote. If you have not mailed in your ballots yet, don't do it now. You gotta drop them off or go vote in person. So we will be watching. Are you gonna be on any of the networks tomorrow
Not
doing
to
any analysis?
not to my knowledge at this point in time, so,
Oh boy, they're gonna start calling you.
but
Uh
just because you brought that up, they'll be calling, and then I'll just give them your phone number and you can get on.
That's fine, we could do that.
Yeah.
Okay, let's bring our guest on. I'm hoping she's ready for us. I see her smiling. Okay, I think she's ready. So we want to bring in now Randi Weingarten, president of the American Federation of Teachers, author of the book Why Fascists Fear Teachers. And I think, Randy, this is your 3rd time on our show, I believe.
Yes, 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 and this time it's about devices, I think.
Yeah, well, we're gonna talk about devices, but also all
Yeah,
kinds of other stuff. How are
good,
you?
fantastic. I'm good. It's always and it was always I'm in an airport because I'm on my way to Savannah right now, but it is always great to hear both of you, and it's really great to hear your analysis. So I love being a fly on the wall, not only when I'm on, but when I'm like listening to you all the time. So
So
bravo for you for doing this.
It's just thank you for being on too, Randy. So what's going on in Savannah?
So, we have become the fastest growing union in the United States of America. We are now in K-12, we in NEA had a no rate, so we don't really grow in K-12, but we're the second largest K-12 union. We're the largest higher ed union, and we are now the second largest nurse union. And so I'm meeting with our local leaders from the South this afternoon, about what we can do to actually make sure that we give people a voice. And there's a lot of, like in Florida, the governor actually did what Scott Walker did and attempted and has effectively hurt our unions. He is requiring under state law that you need 60% of people in a unit to be part of the union in order to not go through elections every year for whether or not you're going to be decertified. 60% in a country that no politicians get more than what, 50,
Right.
51, and that they are requiring that more than 50% of the unit vote, or you're going to lose your contract. So this is the kind of stuff that they do in the South. Even when you actually get the right to collectively bargain, they try to take it away. So I am talking to a lot of our local leaders who are demoralized by what just happened with the gutting of the Voting Rights Act, demoralized by all of the voucher movements, demoralized by the fact that, they'll go out, and if somebody says something negative about Charlie Kirk, they'll run and try to fire that person, as opposed to when somebody is trying to say, wait a second, this kid looks like there's a problem and we need to help this kid. How do we help that kid? That these Southern governors won't do anything about, but cultural wars, they'll be, Johnny on the spot. So that's what I'm doing.
So we got into some of this stuff last time you were on, but I just got to point out the obvious because it's something I really, really, really believe in, and that is public education.
Yeah.
And instead of working to improve public education and make it all it can be, and it can be improved, you and I both agreed on that.
Absolutely.
They
Absolutely.
they do everything they do to tear it apart, and you can't fix it. It's a foundation for democracy, and they've come to the conclusion you just can't fix it. You just rip it apart so that people are stupid, and then they can pay them low wage jobs. And the American dream is gone because education is a great equalizer, and on we go. But
Exactly.
I have one question for you, and I think I know the answer, but I want to hear it from the person who wrote the book. Why do fascists fear teachers?
Look, there's two reasons why fascists fear teachers. And I love today in the New York Times, David French started actually making the same argument that I've been making for months and months and months. Like I wish when the generals created a warning about fascism, that so many of these reporters and columnists would be out there saying, "Oh yeah, the generals are right." Like when Kelly and Miley and Milley said it, they said it, they understood it. But fascists fear teachers because we do two things that help society writ large and help children succeed. One is critical thinking. That is, when we often say, we need to prepare kids for life, for college, career, civics. But if you can't apply knowledge, if you can't think, if you can't problem solve, you're not going to be prepared. And particularly in this era of disinformation and misinformation. So one is critical thinking. That's for an individual. But the second, and you know this, Senator, as much as I do, the second is pluralistic society. And just like Peter McGare in Hungary won by so much because he's a pluralist, the reason they want to kill public education is what else is there to help congeal society? Every classroom is about the habits of democracy. It's about kids learning to know each other and understand each other and tolerate each other even when they're different. And that is what we need to do in society. We need people to understand that in a pluralistic democracy, 250 years after our country started with the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution and the Revolutionary War, that pluralism means that people who are different come together, have a voice in their democracy, not the billionaires, but people. And that is what teachers do every single day in a school, create the habits of democracy and the habits of pluralism. And fascists hate both of these things because fascists want isolation, fear, division, and if they can't get that, then apathy.
Mm.
That's why people need to vote in Montana and California and New Mexico and Iowa and what are the other 2 states tomorrow.
New Jersey, South Dakota.
That's it. New
New
Jersey,
Jersey,
South.
South Dakota.
Yeah,
Uh,
because the truth is that our election system, because people don't vote, people are losing
Right.
faith in it.
Right.
You know,
And
sure.
and one of the things I worry about is, look, the generation after World War II, people understood what we were fighting for.
yeah.
There are a lot of people, a lot of families affected, even though, we didn't have war in this country. The war was across the oceans. But a lot of people lost people in their families. A lot of people understood the fight for freedom. The further away we get from that war, and we've gone through so many other wars like Iran or Vietnam that don't feel like there is a just reason for it, then the more people don't understand the fight for freedom and the fight against autocracy and the fight against fascism. And I think that is part of what we're living through. Autocrats overpromise and underdeliver all the time. But by the time you know it, you've lost so many really important rights. It's hard to get those rights back. I mean, think about farmers, Senator, and what they're going through right now because of tariffs or because of the Strait of Hormuz being, closed. And so there's a way of how do we not just win this election, but if the Democrats win, and I hope they do, how are we bold in our actions so that there is a commitment, a covenant with farmers, with working people, so that even if President Trump vetoes everything that one does, then people see who is on whose side.
That's right. That's 100%. And I just want to quote a quote from True Social that my co-host put up earlier today that you probably didn't hear. And Trump True Social said this, just sit back and relax. It's all going to work out in the end. He was talking about the Iran negotiations, but it could be applied to everything that's happened for the last damn near 2 years in this administration as they continue to blame Biden for everything that's gone wrong when in fact it's been on their watch. At any rate,
Exactly.
I turn it back to my journalistic co-host for an in-depth conversation on something that's really important. What is it, Maritza?
Okay, so Randy, you made headlines last week for this speech you gave at the National Press Club. Oh, she has it. She's all ready to go. So you're calling for a ban.
Who gave her the heads up on what we're going to talk about? Huh?
I think this is top of mind for her. This has been in the
We're supposed
headlines.
Top of mind.
to be cold. All right.
Yeah, yeah. So
Senator, I'm a school teacher. I got a file and I got a sense.
You're prepared. All right. I get
I'm
it.
just impressed you remembered all the states that have primaries tomorrow, Senator. Like, that's an impressive feat that just came off the top of your head.
So before we get into this, then I'm just going to tell the listeners. Maritza sends out a document and she says tomorrow's primary day, and I went, "Oh shit, I vote absentee." Okay, my ballot was probably thrown in the garbage because Trump doesn't like it. But the truth is, I vote absentee. So I googled, and it ain't just Montana; it's in all sorts of other states like California, New Jersey, South Dakota, Iowa, and what's the other one? New Mexico. All right,
So
go
you're
ahead.
admitting that you
Mexico.
read my document. That's good, Senator. Good job. You did your homework. He gets an A
I'm a
for today.
humanist. That's right.
Okay, so Randy, this speech calls for, and this document, you're calling for a ban on social companion chatbots. This is really alarming for me. I have a son who's about to turn 15, and I think
Right.
60 Minutes did this whole piece about these young kids who have relationships with these chatbots, and they're encouraging really awful, scary, terrible things. So that's one. The other thing in this is limiting screen time for kids before third grade, including for tests, and also prohibiting student facing AI. So a year ago,
Ooh,
your
elementary
organization,
school.
for elementary school. So a year
Yeah.
ago, the AFT partnered with OpenAI and Microsoft. So let's talk about this. You said your positions have evolved recently. Let's kind of break down why this is important and really the parameters here you're proposing.
Right. So first off, what I'm talking about is trying, and I love that you're wearing a Brandy Carlisle sweatshirt.
It's her birthday. It's her
Oh my God.
birthday. And
Happy birthday.
I was at the Gorge all
You were
weekend
at the gorge.
at this
Wow.
Randy show. Sorry. Okay. Everyone's sick
We,
of me now.
my wife and I said we really are going to try to get there next year.
You have to. You
But
must do.
s- so AI is here to stay. And what we tried to do a year ago is to actually make sure that teachers got a hold of the tool and learned and understood the tool regardless of what happens in classrooms. And in fact, Gallup just had a poll that said that two-thirds of teachers across America have minimal advice as to how to use the tool, and one-third of them have gotten no advice. And this
Wow.
has been my concern, that in the absence of that, I want teachers to be able to know enough so that they can advocate themselves for how the tool should be used. So the AI Institute is about teaching teachers how to use the tool. And frankly, I wish we had enough money that we could have done it without, the kindness of strangers, including the tech industry. But there was no fairy godmother or father that was going to give us $25 million to actually be able to create this over 5 years. So it is, and what we're doing with it is we're not only teaching teachers, but we are actually in the middle of a negotiations with those three companies, OpenAI, Anthropic, and Microsoft, to do a procurement policy for safety and privacy of kids, their parents, and teachers. And we have the audacity to believe that if we get to this safety policy, look, I'd rather there be federal law, but if we get to this becomes the industry standard. So that's what we're doing with teachers. The speech there's a bunch of it that included this, but the pieces you just talked about, Mirta, are the child facing pieces. And what I learned from Jonathan Haidt last August was a real oh shit moment. I hope I can say that on
Oh,
camera. A real oh shit
yeah.
moment for me, because we were in a book talk that he was talking about his book, Anxious Generation. We do this, we're teacher types. So we do book clubs once a month. So, and he was talking about this new research that he and Jared Coney Horvath and others had then just done. Remember, this is last August, September, that talked about how we have seen real deterioration in attention and cognition, particularly with young kids. Every parent sees this. The attention is to the immediate. The attention is to the screen. But what it's done is really hurt attention and cognition. And so, how are we going to teach kids how to think, apply knowledge, problem solving when there's no attention? Think about what's going on. No, kids are not reading books anymore. So parents of young kids are seeing this. So the theory of the speech was, let's take a break. Let's actually say no screens unless there's a compelling reason. And look, for kids with disabilities, there are some compelling reasons. But let's say let's do no screens for pre-K to second, pre-K, the earliest grades, and let's try to substitute instead active learning, play, engagement, how we help kids learn how to think, how to connect with other kids. And the same in terms of in early elementary, instead of having AI, let's actually have teaching and learning. Let's actually have kids figure out how to think, how to dissect, how to actually do active learning. And so by the time we get to junior high school and high school, we can introduce under the supervision of teachers AI. But if we don't teach kids how to connect and how to think, which by the way, and this is the last thing I'll say, are the skills that every tech person is talking about is needed in the world of AI. If you talk to any futurist, they'll say thinking, curiosity, persistence are what they need. So, what does active learning do? Something that No Child Left Behind kind of stopped us from doing. Active learning teaches those skills. So, my speech was about how do we help kids learn and prepare in a world of AI, but how would we start actually helping them really develop the confidence, the curiosity, the persistence, and that word again, thinking, applying knowledge, problem solving. That's what the theory behind the speech was.
So can you
Sorry.
clarify something for me? I get it, and I don't disagree with what you said. I just wanna make sure that we're talking about the same thing. What I see in kids, it doesn't matter where you're at, whether you're, at a sporting event or whether you're at the dinner table, they're always on these things.
These things. Yep.
These
Always.
always on them. And this isn't necessarily AI.
No.
This is, playing games or God knows what else they do on them that I'm not aware of because my kids are all grown up, so it's my grandkids. And then there's AI, which
Yep.
is a different kind of application that if used in the right way can do a lot of good. If used in the wrong way, of course, the opposite is true. So you're talking about from K to 3rd grade, I guess, or K to the end of 2nd grade, not being able to pick these things up and have
Correct.
your entire life occupied by a damn iPhone, right?
But
Correct.
beyond that, computers too and Chromebooks, right, Randy?
Yeah, I'm talking about unless there's a real reason, because right now there's a Chromebook basically in front of every kid in kindergarten and every kid in 1st grade. And you're starting to hear parents say, why are we doing this? So instead of actually thinking about what does play look like? What does music look like? What does, what like sitting on the ground, reading a book, what does that look like? It doesn't happen in K2 classrooms anymore. Teachers would like it to happen. And frankly, there are times when you could see screens being useful. That's why I said, unless there's compelling circumstances. But to the senator's point, let me make the difference between screens and AI. And part of AI, the problem is you can get in an instant an answer in terms of AI.
That's right.
You're not struggling to get to the answer. You're not thinking about how you get to the answer.
Correct.
There's a new word, cognitive offloading.
That's
So
correct.
the acquisition of knowledge today is not the same as the acquisition of knowledge 20 years ago. And
You
so if we want kids to really learn and have muscle brain development, we need to ensure that those muscles are developed in school. I can't help what happens out of school. But if we don't have any time for those muscles to develop in school, what are we doing to children? That's
that
why there's a difference between the screens and the issue about active learning versus acquiring knowledge.
I don't disagree with anything you've said. There's a couple things I might add. AI is not right all the time. So
Correct.
you still have to think critically. And the second thing is that the school has these kids, say, for 8 hours a day, say for, if you got sports, 10 hours a day.
Yeah.
The parents have them for 14 hours a day. If the parents don't enforce these rules, does it really do any good?
Yes, it really does some good because think about going to the gym. You
Okay.
don't have to go to the gym for 14 hours a day. You got to go to the gym for 1 hour a day. You got to walk for 1 hour a day. If we can actually have, because as Dan Willingham and others say, we have to develop the muscle of the brain. We have to develop cognition. We have to develop attention. And so, if we have the kids for a few hours a day, but we have to make it interesting and we have to make it engaging. That's why I said, let's kind of ban or minimize this and actually replace it with active learning. Play is
Mm.
active learning. Doing echo garden is active learning. Think about what would happen, Senator, if you had like an apprenticeship or an internship on your farm where you had a bunch of kids where you actually went through a process of what it meant from the beginning and the end of, I don't know, corn season, beginning of the end of cattle ranching. I'm just saying that this kind of active learning, which I did when I was a high school social studies teacher in debate competitions for civics, this is really important for kids. But we have to substitute it with something that's interesting and engaging and relevant. And I've learned this from the career tech ed work we've been doing. We see that kids really spark to it. They spark to, phlebotomy. They spark to advanced manufacturing, to culinary. They like when not, I'm not talking about the certifications. I'm talking about a process by which they see from beginning to end a project to completion, which they do by themselves or with others. And that kind of active learning is, I think, what we have to substitute in that will compete with the screens.
Randy, he won't even let me come and intern on the farm, like, picking rocks. So, he's not gonna let that happen, but I
That's
see your
fine,
point.
but you hear what I'm saying.
I want I wanna correct the record. I will let you come pick rock. Okay.
Okay.
If it deals with anything else more complicated than that, we're just
Yeah,
gonna we're
Okay,
just
okay.
and I'm
and by
not and
the way, when you pick rock, you can get in touch with your soul too. So
yeah, but it's the wow factor of picking rock.
Yes.
It's the
yeah,
wow
and
factor. It's a sense of exploration, of curiosity. That's what I'm saying.
so
Yeah, no, no,
I don't wanna create a problem.
I'm
I
just joking around. We're just joking around.
I've got questions for you, Randy. Number 1, how has the reception been amongst teachers, educators? And how has the reception been among kids? And how's the reception been amongst parents?
Mhm.
So I'll give you an example about parents. In my elevator today, as I was leaving to go to the airport, one of the moms in my building, I live in Manhattan. I live in Inwood, like the northernmost neighborhood in Manhattan. I see her. She's been really concerned about her kids and screens. Her kids are young. And she just said, "Oh my God, that speech that you just gave, that was so unbelievable." She said, "My whole parent group are just yakking, yakking, yakking about it." My stepdaughter called me the day that I gave the speech and said something very similar. So it's just been, and teachers, they need the chance, to have kids' attention, and they need it. They want kids to succeed. So, I haven't had, except for Linda McMahon, um, who basically said she takes anything I say with a grain of salt. Um, every other bit of reaction I've gotten has been really positive. And their reaction, I mean, their reaction was so stupid because they didn't actually even read the speech. I wrote Trump a letter in December saying, "We both love career tech ed. Why don't we work together?" They didn't even bother to respond. But
Don't worry
they're
about it.
giving
That's
no
typical.
one
It's
typical, right?
typical with everybody, by the way. It
Yeah,
doesn't matter if it's the White House or Congress. They respond with
they
canned
don't.
response or no response at
exa-
all.
Exactly. So, I mean, they're the ones who are supposed to be giving people advice about what to do or how to do it. And so she's gotten on TV saying, "Oh, people should use AI appropriately." Is that what Melania Trump meant when she walked down the White House, one of the White House hallways with a humanoid? I mean, what is appropriate use? The laissez-faire stuff that they're doing? I mean, the last thing I'll say about this is last week, the acting surgeon general did more advice about warning about well-being and about screens and did more advice for parents and teachers about schooling. They said, go back to using crayons and paper
Yeah.
and pens. They did more advice than the Department of Education or than than the cabinet secretary. So I've been basically just getting, you know, lots and lots of, wow, let's look at this. But the question really becomes, and that's what my next step is, how do we change schools to do this work when they're so scared that the federal government is going to come down on them on everything? But because what the senator said earlier was really important, we need to strengthen schools. We need to make them places, public schools, places that parents want to send their kids, educators want to work, kids feel a wow factor. We need to do that. But it means we have to make changes. And states right now, and this is, and I would say this about Democrats too, we need to be bold about making these changes. And I'm pushing Democrats as much as I'm pushing Republicans.
Yeah, I think it's a really good point too, Randy, about the Surgeon General's warning, because at the same time that they're discounting what you're saying, their own administration issued a warning about excessive screen time for kids. I
Yeah,
talked to my son about this last night. He said he cannot stand taking tests on a computer. It's
yeah.
stressful for him. But yeah, I think it's a good point. Do you have what's your heart out? I have a couple other topics I wanted to ask you about.
I have to be on a flight at 2:15 Eastern Time, and it takes me 5 minutes to walk. So I have about 5 more
Okay,
minutes.
5 more minutes. Okay, so 2 things. Um, I wanna ask you about these new rules that are about to take effect when it comes to financial aid and student loan caps, they were
Awful.
included in this one big beautiful bill. One of my friends is a professor of social work, and she had a meeting a few weeks ago, and they kinda just laid out how hard this is going to be for families to pay for college if they don't have loads of money.
Right.
So I'm just wondering if you could,
We're
like,
going to sue. Other people are suing. Like, we waited to sue. The attorney generals have just sued. We waited until the rules finally came out. So think about what's happened. This is an assault on, um, shoot, they're telling me that the gate is boarding and I have to go shortly.
okay,
So
well, we'll finish this and
so
let you go.
let me just finish this one, which is this is an assault on anyone who wants to go to college. How and it was paid for. It basically took away the subsidy to student loans in order to pay for tax cuts for the rich. So let's be really clear about what this is about. And so essentially, the federal government is basically saying we are no longer going to have tax cuts. We're no longer going to have loans for kids who go into nursing or social work or things like that.
Yep. And by the way, as we have a mental health crisis in this country and we have a healthcare crisis in this country, we're going to take away the very people that can help solve the problem. It is
Exactly right.
ridiculous. And I would also go to far as say this, Randy, it's not how you make America great again.
No, it's repugnant. And to take this away from young people who can't afford this, it's just repugnant.
Yeah.
Okay, Randy Weingarten, I
Thank
know you
you.
have to catch a flight. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you. Love you too.
Okay, we'll talk
Bye.
soon. Oh, man, I have more questions too, because there was this headline, okay? There was a headline that was in the New York Times, Senator, that there's a huge exodus of lawyers. Now, 10,000 federal lawyers have left some of the agencies within the federal government, and when you look at it, the Department of Education has lost the biggest percentage.
So the real question is where is mainstream media reporting on this?
Well, that's in the New York Times. That was in the
What
New York Times this
okay,
weekend.
and they get kudos. But the truth is that these agencies being hollowed out ever since, the very beginning, and what was the name of that outfit that Elon Musk ran? And they fired
Doge.
that Doge fired half that fired as many people as they could possibly fire. Whether they needed them or not, they fired them. No thought whatsoever put into it. And these hollowing out agencies are gonna make the agencies not work well. It's just the way it is. They could have done this in a thoughtful way, but they did not, and they could have saved some money without ruining agencies, and they did not, and they could have saved some money while still having the government provide services that people expect, but they did not. And they continue to piss on your shoes and tell you it's raining, that everything is just fine out there, while the agencies are failing. And when get agencies failing, you get things like the president suing the IRS for Christ's sakes. Unbelievable. Anyway,
One other thing
right.
One other thing that came down while we were talking with Randy in my group chat, there's a New York Times article. I was trying to put up the screenshot, but my computer is not working. They're stopping me from doing it. But it says that Scott Pelley was part of an explosive staff meeting at CBS. Of course, the longtime correspondent for 60 Minutes, and that Scott Pelley accused the new boss at CBS of murdering 60 Minutes. So I'm gonna read that when we get off of this because, there's been just major shakeups at CBS, and we saw the firing of Cecilia Vega at 60 Minutes last week. Sharon Alfonsi she left, and so we're just seeing that. I mean, it's sad for me. I love 60 Minutes. I always watch 60
I
Minutes.
like CBS, but I don't watch it anymore. Um, Hardly at all. I watched, the 60 Minutes this weekend, not 60 Minutes, CBS this morning, but the truth is Barry Weiss is killing that network. I said it around the 1st of the year, and some of my friends said, "Oh, no, no, she's doing a marvelous job." Well, look at it. You wanna know why Main Street Media is dying? It's dying for a lot of reasons, and Barry Weiss is not helping CBS at all. Um,
So
Unbelievable,
She's
unbelievable.
saying that, someone in the meeting said the show had to adapt and said, "Barry loves this institution. She loves 60 Minutes," and Mr. Pelly interrupted then and said, quote, "She's murdering 60 Minutes. She does not love this place. She was brought to kill it, and she's doing exactly that." So, explosive, new reporting out of the New York Times. What's one more thing? I wanted to put this up for you. This is the first time I'm doing this, you guys. Ready? Ready? We have a comment in the chat. I have a grain bin in Rudyard, Montana that I would love to name after John. We'll make sure it's Jon, not John. It would sure irritate those Trumpers up on the High Line. So there you go. You could have a grain bin named after you,
Yeah,
Senator.
that's said by the guy who lives in France, you know?
Oh, you know him.
I sure do.
Oh, well, you know, that's okay. He can live in France. He still
He's
owns a grain bin.
That's true, he's good, and I know right where those grain bins are too, by gosh. Yeah, it's really good.
All right. Well, we have a new John Tester grain bin in Montana.
Right.
And, yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what happens tomorrow in the primaries. I'm looking forward to an end to some of the, TV ads.
Yeah, me too. I'm looking forward to the end of the Republicans meddling in the Democratic primary. I shouldn't say Republican Steve Daines meddling in the, Democratic primary, but what the hell? When Democrats do it, they get, taken to task by the media. These guys need to be taken to task too, but I haven't seen it yet.
I did see it. Someone sent it to me this morning. It is in hold on, because it's been hot news in Montana. There's been a lot of chatter about,
Only on the ads. Only on ads saying that those ads are trying to sway the way you vote.
Yeah, but in Semaphore this morning, there's a whole write-up about these big, groups spending big in the Democratic Senate primary race, and it's all outside groups, and they're pitted the thing that's, like, so gross is that they're pitting people against each other who should just all be on the same sides and,
Correct,
and
correct.
working toward.
And I just got a text from a guy that said, "Hey, one of these groups, their job's horrible." Instead of focusing on the folks who are really trying to screw things up, they focus on the getting a circular firing squad. together and start shooting. At any rate, that's all right. That's the way it is. It's the way it always will be.
Mary says it's confusing people. It is confusing people, and
Sure.
some people have said you're behind it, Senator, which is hilarious because you're just busy out there praying for rain.
Yeah, well, people want to bitch about me. They can bitch about me. I'm not in public office anymore, so bitch away. It doesn't do any good. Okay,
All
I'm not
right.
controlling your lives. The people out there controlling your lives, you ought to pay attention to. All I want to do is get money out of politics, not put more money in it.
There you go. Uh, all right. Do you have any final thoughts? Anything we need to talk about?
You know, I don't. Uh, it was good to have Randy Weingarten on. It was good to have that you sent out the email that told me that what I should probably be talking about. So, I pretty much behaved this morning. I mean,
You
or the
did. I didn't hear you
uh,
say the F word once.
no, I didn't. I didn't. That's pretty good. You probably want to know about this hat.
I do want to know about your hat.
Isn't it a cool hat, though? I mean, look at the design. It's cool. It's an energy company. I don't even know. It's in North Dakota, I think. That's what it says on the side.
You
Yeah.
just picked it out of a bag this morning. Williston Basin.
I just picked it. It's hey, you know what it is? It's mid-continent drilling. That's what it is. These guys probably drill for oil.
Okay. Out
But
of the
it's a nice
Williston
hat.
Basin.
A good cotton hat that's pretty cool and goes well with my shirt.
And it's got a curved bill so you can put your head in the mailbox.
That's right.
So you just pick these hats out of the bag. So like we could maybe just put some other hats in there. Like, do you take a look at them before you put them on, or could we trick you? Is
I
there
get I'm actually down to 2, and then I've gotta go get another bag because 'cause I've gone through them. Since, the ones hanging on my wall in this bag is what I've been doing since we started this podcast, and I haven't even got all the ones off my wall done yet.
So, okay, this is getting a lot of comments. Janice wants to know, she says that her son-in-law worked for XTO. Yes, it's an oil company.
Yeah.
And Cindy Worthington wants to know what the text is on the front of the bill. Can you read that, Senator? Like, what's on the front there?
It says, XTO Energy
Right here?
right on the front right here.
Oh, so it's double. It's repetitive,
Right, yeah, you're getting
redundant.
double hit. Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm gonna figure out some funny hats to throw in your next goodie bag so that you can just pull out a random
Look,
one.
I brought a hat all the way to Missoula for you to wear, and you haven't worn it yet.
It's in the other room. I
See?
don't You're the one who wears the hats. I wear the sweatshirts that say Brandy Carlisle.
It's good. I wear the shirts that says Carhartt.
Okay, guys, I have a really quick funny story.
Okay.
So Senator Tester's actually wearing a collared shirt today, guys. He's not wearing a ripped t-shirt with stains all over it. And I was one of the women I was with camping this weekend. Her name's Fran, and she used to do work on Senator Tester's campaign videos. And so when he was first running, she told the story about how they, took him shopping for clothes that looked like a guy running for the US Senate. And one of those shirts that she bought was this really nice, crisp, white collared shirt. And she showed up to the farm to get video of him on the tractor. And he gets out of the tractor in his brand new, crisp, white collared shirt. And she said she about killed you.
Look, I dress up for work. I mean, that's just the way it is, you know?
Dress for the job you want.
Let me tell you how I probably pulled it out of the closet, and it looked okay to wear, so I wore it.
Yes.
What the hell? It's just kinda way it is, you know? Everybody,
Hilarious.
there are some farmers out there that go into one of the farm stores and they buy shirts that look like farm shirts. I I take dress shirts, and when I think they've pitted out enough, I put them on, and that's what I wear. And so there it is. I don't like to throw them away. Just
Good
wear 'em.
job. Good
And then
job.
I make them into grease rags after they're totally ripped to pieces.
I don't think it was, pitted out, though. I think that was a pretty new shirt. So, we'll just leave it there. We wanna thank everyone for joining us. We do have another podcast, maybe 2 scheduled this week. I'm working on finalizing that, but we are working on, getting some folks on who are really trying to build the counter organization to what Turning Point USA has done for the conservative movement in this country. And there are some new efforts to build that kind of movement and engagement within high schools and colleges on the other side of things. So we're going to talk about that and make sure you go out and vote if you're in one of those 6 states who have a primary tomorrow. And we want to thank Randi Weingarten for joining us. We want to thank our friends at Pearl Jam for letting us use their music. We want to thank everyone who joined us today, both live and listening later. You can find us on Substack, Blue Sky, Instagram, and YouTube. Anything I missed?
Got nothing. Tally ho.